Welcome friends, welcome to the class again. In the last class we were discussing about the case study method, right, which we will finish it up now. We will discuss more a little bit more about the case study as a part of the qualitative research, and then we will get into the other side of it, the descriptive and the research design and the the errors connected with the research all the research designs, right, whatever different kinds of errors we have to face, we will have to discuss about these things, right. So, let us see, as we discussed, case study is basically a situation which is quite flexible as it says, right, and it investigates a particular phenomena with its real life context. As Ian had suggested, you can take multiple sources of evidence and then try to validate a particular issue. Now, for example, let us say you are talking about a case of marketing channels, or let us say a case of merger or acquisition or anything for that. So, what you can do is on the particular issue, you may pick up 3 to 4 cases, 4 cases or 5 cases. So, or maybe if it is a too large a case and in depth study can be done on it, then a single case also can work, but it is always nice to converge your idea through 4 to 5 case studies. Let us say you have worked on case 1 on the same issue of channel, let us say, and case 2 also talks about the same, case 3 the same, and 4 also the same, and then after doing it, what you can do is you can converge your ideas, right. So, whether they are converging properly or not. If it is converging, that means it is helping you to develop a particular kind of theory from it. You can justify something and you can go ahead with you can propose a theory, right. But suppose they do not converge, then maybe there is something that is only specific to a particular case, and maybe it is not possible here and it is possible here and maybe here, but not here. So, in such conditions we have to see why it is not happening, right. So, case study is more realistic because you are addressing a real life situation, right, which is not so in many of the other cases of exploratory research or qualitative research, because there could be fictitious, but this case case study is being real. So, suppose you are taking a case of channel and in, let us say you are talking about Johnson and Johnson, or let us say you are talking about ITC, or you are talking about Unilever of 3 different companies, and most all are large companies. So, when you have done it and you have studied, let us say you, as I said, you have taken 3 large companies, then you will say that this study is basically on large companies. You cannot conclude that this will also work maybe for the smaller and medium ones, it might not. So, to how do you validate a case study is also equally important, and the reliability of the case study needs to be checked whether it is reliable. So, all these things will only happen with the convergence. If there is a proper convergence, then it will happen. So, why case study we discussed, right. Let us say it is a very flexible research design and is particularly useful in researching issues related to sustainability and institutional systems, because it is very difficult to sometimes understand how does an institution, a system in large work, okay. So, it involves a lot of processes. For example, the document analysis which I also had said about, you have to you can do a content analysis also. Content analysis means from the some of the exhibits or the reports, annual report or something, you can see which are the contents which are being regularly utilized, repeated by the company. So, that gives you an idea what is the way the company is oriented to, right. Surveys are also done, surveys can be done, and a primary or a secondary survey can be done, right. And observation method is a very important method to observe. That is the best part of case study. Case study is something in which you go and observe in a real life situation in the firm how actually they are working with the dealers, let us say their wholesalers and the entire supply chain, what is happening, and how do they manage the horizontal conflict, the vertical conflict, and all these issues, for example. So, now this is a case which I have brought in to you, is Godzilla. Now, this is a company which has become very successful in selling their product, the mosquito repellent. This company is not an Indian company, but this company has been able to successfully market itself in a very large way, right. So, how did this company do it? what was generally we think if a company is from the same place or it is a company from a very large brand, it is products from a large brand, then we feel ki the product, because it has got a large number of promotional support for it, then we think it becomes easier for a product to be successful. But in this case the country that it originates from is Myanmar, okay, Myanmar, and this has hardly done any advertisements or promotion in India. In India they have not done any promotion, no promotion. So why after all this still this company became a successful company, I mean company in the sense the product became highly successful, it became a very demanded product in the market. So what happened, how did Godzilla do it? So when you are trying to understand such a situation, it helps you to maybe identify about the strength of a product in the market. So how much importance do people give in or customers give in to a product, basically the quality of a product, right. So and if you look at it, the packaging also had something, people had to say that this packaging looked very aggressive and very strong, because if you look at the Godzilla being the very famous movie Godzilla, right, from where it comes. So it would be able to kill the mosquitoes, that is what people felt. So the question is, how many cases should you do? 4 to 10 is ideal, because as I said, if you do only one case, sometimes as Yin suggests, it is good, but then it has to be done in a very if it is like a conglomerate which has got a multiple number of firms inside it, then it is a separate issue. Otherwise on a specific issue, if you are discussing, let us say the channel or the something, then a number of companies should be taken or ideal situations should be taken and then seen ki whether they are converging or not. If they, like any data analysis, like, so what basically we do, we try to see whether whatever we have derived from the sample, is it can it that be extrapolated to the population. The same thing we are doing in the case study method also. We are trying to get it from a sample of 4 and then we are trying to propose this is what is going to be happening in the actual market, okay. So when you design a case study, these things have to be kept in mind. What is the phenomena being studied? What is the case all about, right? Is it a case of channel distribution? Is it a channel of is a case of channel conflict, or is it a case of product success? What it is, right? There could be n number of issues on which one can think of a case. What are the key research questions? So what are the research questions that you need to address? Now this is very important, please remember what I am saying right now. Whenever you do an exploratory study, versus a descriptive study, the basic difference is, in an exploratory study, as the name suggests and I have been saying, exploratory you are exploring, so you do not have any idea beforehand. So here we try to ask research questions, right, we ask research questions, and very seldom can we talk about a hypothesis here, because a hypothesis can only be done, or an assumption, which is an assumption basically, can only be done when you have certain idea about the thing of interest, right. But since at this moment you do not have it, so we will only ask research questions, right. And one thing is for sure, that exploratory tests help you to develop or frame a hypothesis, that is okay, but testing the hypothesis is not a part of the story in the exploratory system, right, in the exploratory design. Now let us go to the who are the key players, right, and what are the key social, economic and political factors that describe the context, okay. So there are two generalizations, one is statistical and one is the theoretical generalization. So you can develop a theory from a case method of analysis, or you can describe a population, as I said just recently, okay. So these are the things how you do, right, data management. To you record, you may not record, right, you may observe only, transcribing the interviews, then you code the data and fit it into some a kind of a Excel or any database, and then you analyze this data that you have, or you understand a pattern that is emerging in the particular area of interest, and then you write the report, right. So, this is basically all about the case study. So, if I hope you have understood the case study, that case study is a real life situation where you are dwelling into the case, the situation, and understanding or unearthing some new aspects of it, so that you can propose a theory maybe, right. Now, coming to the next important part is descriptive research. So, this is a part of the conclusive research. Now, we have just got into the descriptive research. So, here, so it is a part of the conclusive, right. In conclusive, we said there are two types of research, one the descriptive, earlier we had said, and the other is the causal, right. So, it is this here in the descriptive that you define or you try to describe a particular phenomena. One can only describe, please remember, when one has got some idea, right. If you do not have an idea, what will you describe, right. So, that is why in a descriptive situation only you can test a hypothesis. So, you are testing, developing the hypothesis can be done with the help of the exploratory study, but then testing this hypothesis becomes an important part of the descriptive research, right. So, you frame the hypothesis and you test the hypothesis here basically, right. Now, how do you collect the data in a descriptive research? Basically, for example, as you can see, a structured questionnaire is used in many cases to collect the data, right. Sometimes it might not be a structured also, it could be depending upon the objective of the study. Now, these are some of the classical methods of survey methods. How do you do it? Now, not over telephone, over personal in a personal way, one to one basis, right. So, for example, on a mall or somebody's house or even in some locality where you can find a respondent, you can do it. So, this is something, and then you have through the mail system, right, and electronically also we are doing. So, let us see each one of them, we will not take too much of get into it. So, traditional telephoning method, this is how it involves sampling, phoning a sample of respondents and asking them a series of questions, right. This is what they are doing. Similarly, here the lady gentleman is sitting over the phone, they are asking people somebody else something, but the questions are what they are asking is there in front of them. Okay. Now, this is the case of Hallmark. Hallmark, if you know, it is a card company, greeting card making company. So, they wanted to know how often women like to keep in touch with their female friends. That means one female trying to keep in touch with another female, right, their friend. They did a survey, a telephonic survey was conducted between the age group of people for 18 to 39, and respondents were asked to rate how frequently they share their surprise secrets to other friends. Now, the survey showed that a higher probability of females share information with their female friends, they do share, right. So, based on these findings, Hallmark started a line of cards called Hallmark Fresh Ink that may keep in touch. This was with the purpose of that women would touch who wanted to keep in touch with their female friends. So, they could use these cards, right. Hallmark held 50% of the market share in US for greeting card sales. So, this helped them in improving their sales of. So, when you understand the internal reason, the inherent reason why a person is doing something or what does he like, it helps you to improve your sales or your market share in marketing. So, this is personal method. If you can see, one to one interview is going on. Here there is like this is a mall kind of a place where people are stopped and they are asked obviously with their consent in the two test facilities in the malls. This is another personal method which is computer assisted, if you can see. Now, in this technique the respondents sits in front. Now, the respondent is sitting in front, right, of a computer terminal, this is the respondent, sorry, and answers a question on the screen, right. So, this lady is just observing and recording, and this man is responding to the questions coming in front of in the monitor, right. So, mail method is the old existing the very old method, traditional method. So, which is like this, and nowadays also mail panels are like you must have seen, you must have received requests from companies to become a part of their response the survey. So, what they do is they collect a nationally representative sample of households who agree to participate and produce tests, right. So, this is used to obtain information from the same respondents repeatedly. If you remember earlier we talked about the the longitudinal research and the cross sectional research. So, this is the longitudinal research I am talking about, where the same person is being repeated again and again, right. So, this is last, the email is being used nowadays. So, where a person can either go to a site, website, and there questions are posted over there, then they can fill it up, right, or just an email interview, right. So, what is done here? Survey is written within the body of the email message and it is sent over the internet. So, respondents answer to the question and click and send it back to the company or the one who is conducting the research, right. So, this is basically how you start the descriptive research. So, can be please understand the descriptive research is something where you are trying to describe a phenomena. You are trying to describe a phenomena. If I say, for example, that if I change the packaging of products, if I change the color of the package, maybe it will increase my sales, or people are sensitive to prices, right. So, these are things which is not completely unknown to us, it is known to us, right, but then we do not know exactly how much it will behave and how it will behave. Sometimes the same color change could affect in the negative also, and in some other cases the same color change could address could be a positive move, right. So, in this particular situation, suppose the researcher wants to know whether the hypothesis taken would affect in the positive or negative, that is what descriptive research helps you to test. Okay. Now, observation is another method. It is basically how do you collect the data. So, when you are collecting the data, you can ask through a structured questionnaire or you can just observe, right. Observation being very powerful sometimes. Now, look at the child, he is observing what is happening to the the butterfly, right. So, what it is doing. So, the different observational methods are basically companies are using personal observation, right, or which is mechanically also we observe, right, audits, content analysis. So, these are different, and trace analysis. Now, I am not going to go into all of them, but you can look what is he doing. He is personally observing and recording, he is observing and recording what is going on, how the workers are working. Okay. So, the observer does not manipulate, does not attempt to manipulate. So, what he records whatever is exactly happening. Now, that is very important. Here the researcher's honesty comes into play. Now, if the researcher is quite honest enough to sometimes what happens is researchers try to create introduce their bias into the study. Now, that is very dangerous. You have to be free from this bias. Now, how do you manage it is all up to the researcher. He has to be good enough to understand that the research is more important than what he or she has already hypothesized, right. So, the hypothesis could be sometimes wrong that you have assumed, it could be right. It should not be taken into an ego or something, right, which sometimes people do, right. For example, a researcher might record traffic counts and observe traffic flows in a department store. Now, mechanical observation for interesting was devices are used. Now, this is a device which is being used to record a person's behavior. Now, let us see this on-site cameras, optical scanners in supermarkets which is scanning the flow of the consumers and in which counters are they going, large number are going and which counters they are very thin and all these things, right. Eye tracking monitors. Now, this is interesting. I will tell you a case where in one of the jewelry companies they introduced these eye tracking devices. What happened is basically they track the eye movement, and sometimes people this pupillometer is also similar to that. What happened is in pupillometer only difference is that the pupil, the measurement of the pupil starts expanding or contracting or expanding according to the thing that they see, the observer. So, jewelry a jewelry manufacturer, the jewelry items manufacturer, when they introduced, they found that people in some cases they liked the jewelry the items, suppose the necklace or something the designs, but they did not perceive it. And when they were asked whether did you like it, then they they said on the negative, they said no, we did not like it, but actually as per the machine they were liking it because it showed that their eyes were getting the pupil was changing, the size of the pupil was changing. But so they understood the reason for their negative answer was that they were not able to maybe pay the price for that particular item. Maybe it was very costly, although they liked it, they were not able to afford, right. So they were saying on the negative, they were saying no, I did not like it. So to avoid this situation, the company started making the same design and placing it at a lesser product, and after this the result was that obviously people, when they liked it, they start, and there it was within the budget, so they started purchasing those items, right. Voice speech analyzer is something where you can understand, this is highly used nowadays in many places to understand whether a person is telling the truth or is he not telling the truth. So and how much of how emphatically is he saying. So to understand that, the modulator, it is the the voice, the pitch of the person is being marked. So if it is whether he is believing in his idea, even you can see, you must have seen when presidents address the debates, or prime ministers or any political in a rally, in a debate, the way they speak, it gets affected, the audience gets affected, right. So the audience behavior changes according to his voice, right. So that becomes very important. Audit is something where you try to look into the some factual data and try to understand it, right. So data are collected personally by the researcher. They are basically based upon counts, usually of physical objects. So suppose there is certain interest of thing of interest, then what you can do is you can check how many times it has occurred. For example, as I said, the same thing being done in a content analysis. Now you see, I was saying content analysis. So it is saying the objective, systematic and quantitative description of the manifest content of a communication. Now suppose somebody is using in a speech or a delivery or a writing, in an exhibit, or in a something that has been written, a written manual, the particular words like growth, progressive, positive is being repeated too many times, then we understand that this company also means the same, or at least it is thinking on the same lines. But suppose somebody has got little more on the negative, then also similarly we can think, this is just an example, right. So similarly, what is of your interest of research counts. So these are some of the ways, analytical categories for classifying the units are developed, and the communication is broken down according to the rules. So there is certain rules on basis of which even softwares today are available, which are helping you for there are several softwares, right. I think one of them is Atlanta or something, Atlas, I do not remember exactly the term, the company's name, it is Atlanta, I think, I do not remember exactly, you can check on that. So there are several, in fact, I have one is I do not remember the name exactly. There are certain softwares which you can think of, which are being used, right. So observation, there are obviously advantages, right. Because they are not biased, that is the biggest benefit. But if you look at it, if the observed phenomena occurs frequently or is of short duration, observational methods may be quite better, and they may be faster and cheaper than survey, because survey takes a long time, and survey sometimes are not are biased. In fact, survey can be biased, because if the respondent is giving you a wrong reply, then it might not be possible to predict his actual outcome, the behavior, right. So this is something like what is happening in the the observation and the survey methods. Before I start with, but you have to understand that every research has got its own problems, right. So there is no research which is free of errors. In fact, in life error is one integral part of our system. So one has to understand that every research also goes with an error. For example, let me take back, how do we start a research? So we said problem identification, okay. So you identified the problem, then once you identified the problem, you did some kind of a literature review, okay, literature. Then after doing the literature, you thought of building your hypothesis, right. So you thought of hypothesis, then you had your methodology. methodology, right. So, in methodology or for example, here I would say that the research design comes into play, research design, okay. Now, research design. So, then here we are doing this, right. So, in each step if you mark, now suppose your hypothesis development you have done, but the methodology that you have used, suppose what kind of scale you have used, what kind of sampling you have used, right. All these things, although we will be doing in our next class, right, in the next session. So, how this scale, sample, right, if you choose it by chance a wrong one, you then the errors are introduced into the system, and with each error that you have done, if you have measured it wrongly, for example in a scale, or you have taken the wrong sample for your study, then your complete outcome would be wrong, right. So, during the research one has to be very careful ki what are the different methods of the ways one is doing the conducting the research, right. So, we will see in the next session, I am not going to touch it now, just I am going to brief you that research is in research errors would be there, and you need to cut down these errors as much as possible. So, from methodology, for example, next day let us say we are getting into the data even for example data collection, let us say. Now, in data collection also one can commit mistakes and research can be introduced, not research, error can be introduced, right. Then from data collection we move into the data analysis. What is where is the guarantee that one might not use a wrong way of statistically analyzing the data? There is a great possibility that you are completely, suppose you should do a central tendency, use a central tendency or a test of means for example, but instead of testing a test of means, you are using some other research techniques. Many a times it so happens I have seen that people do not understand ki what is the right research tool to be utilized, but on the contrary they do because they use something that they know. So, as a result the software will give you any result, because it is only when you put in some data the software will give you some output, but that is absolutely wrong, completely wrong, okay. So, when you are doing this data analysis, so data collection, data analysis and all, right, analysis, at each step you are, there is a fear of conducting a wrong way or doing it in a wrong way and introducing an error. So, one has to be very very careful, right. So, what I am always say in any class is that there are umpteen ways of creating errors. So, as a researcher one has to be very careful. It is not only with the method only, it can be through your the way you observe it, the way you collect the data, the question is what questions have you asked as a part of the survey or the questionnaire, then what is the scale you have utilized, is the sample a right sample or wrong sample, and finally once you have collected the data, is the data has this data been checked for purification, is the data, first of all, which kind of a distribution is the data following. For example, is this data a normally distributed data, or it is following a binomial distribution, right, or is it following a Poisson distribution. So, what kind of distribution, right, is the data following. So, that is also of concern. So, if you by chance if you make it a wrong one, then your analysis could be heavily affected, right, and the interpretation could be entirely wrong. So, what we will do is in the next session I will introduce you to the different research errors that is possible that a researcher might go through, and how he or she can avoid it. Okay. Thank you so much.